Oh, we're live.
Well, I titled this event May 25th, but it is not May 25th. I'm such an idiot. I'll have to go back and make adjustments to that. But I also started it preemptively where I can't wait to go back and watch this and you watch you say, oh, wait, are we live? Anyway, welcome everybody to From East to West, Amazon AMA, Ask Me Anything. This is where Brett Bohannon and myself, Michael Marr, come together and we just answer all Amazon related questions. How you doing, Brett?
Doing well. How are you?
Well, I told you I'm coming off of a little time away, so trying to get some energy to get back into the swing of things. But yeah, we're also in an interesting time, just coming out of Prime Day as well, which is one of the best invented sales holidays for e-commerce brands, especially those on Amazon.
I like how you said invented sales holiday because that's
I mean,
exactly.
what better way to get people to spend more money in a time when things lag other than having them come be a part of a sale, which is the whole reason why Amazon came up with that. As far as I know, it was all about creating sales at a time when things were not super hyped. So I think it's probably cool if we start talking lean into that a little bit and talk about that. I know you might have some anecdotes on that. I know I do as well from a client perspective. But I did see that this was again the biggest Prime Day since the history of time. Now, the one caveat I will say, I believe it was I believe it was last year. It went to 2 days. Is that right? Or was it 2 years ago?
I think that was a couple years ago. I was just actually looking up when the first Prime Day was. It was 2015.
A lot of people, I remember a lot of people saying, oh, it was like a bunch of crap that I didn't even know what it was and it wasn't good. It wasn't good stuff, but it's become a very monumentous event.
Yeah, and I just pulled something up. This was Amazon Press. It was today. First day of Prime Day was the single largest sales day ever on Amazon, helping make this the biggest Prime Day event ever. There was 375 million items worldwide, and they saved more than 2.5 billion on millions of dollars across the Amazon store.
People spent 12.7 billion just in those 2 days, which is a 6.1% jump from last year. I also am comparing that to the quarterly results from last year for Q1 because that's all we have. That was up 9%. So not quite. I mean, it's still a big increase from a dollar standpoint, but not huge skyrocket growth year over year.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon's. This is funny because Amazon's press, they don't talk about the top line. They really just talk about how much was saved.
Yeah,
So
I
they
mean,
said Prime members saved more this year than any other Prime Day event, saving more than 2.5 billion across millions of deals.
one of the most interesting components of this is now like a Target or any other store is doing like prime day events.
Yeah.
I got an alert from someone who said they were doing Prime savings, which you can't use the Prime logo, but you can still say Prime. I mean, Prime is a regular English word. I'm actually curious to know any clue on anyone that did like Walmart Plus Day or Walmart Plus savings.
Good question. I don't know. What would I mean, I bought a new dishwasher from Lowe's. and it was on sale.
Oh, nice.
So they did that. They did the same thing. Again, I think the smart brands also did savings on their own website and used SMS quite a bit. I got lots of text messages from brands that I just signed up for, just watched kind of their funnel. A lot of them were like, "Hey, Prime Day savings." Then you get obviously the people that are going for the more anti-Amazon conscious people, where they're like support small businesses and don't buy on Amazon, which is completely incorrect. Because
Why don't you share with people why that's so incorrect?
I know. I'd love to figure out a way to educate people on that, but and how to read it. And it's funny because throughout the years of me doing Amazon and being in it, people still don't understand that concept, that it's a marketplace, and a lot of the items sold on it are not from Amazon, but they're actually from
60% now.
60%. Yeah, I didn't know the stats, but people still don't understand that, and it baffles me.
So to recap, 60% of I only remember 2022 sales, I think, in the US, or it might even be, I think it's 2022. US marketplace total did like maybe 450 billion, and 60% of that is all third-party sellers. So that means at 270 billion, I mean, I don't know if they're doing it based on items or based on actual revenue, but 60% of the stuff being actually sold on Amazon is coming from third parties. And if you look at categories, it's very, very telling, because some categories are like 80, 90%. Some are maybe closer to 50. But there's some categories where Amazon is barely in at all.
Yep. True.
So from your perspective, how did Prime Day go?
It went well. The majority, all the clients that I have a hand on, like a daily, like in the weeds on, they all did really good. A majority of them didn't do much. It was just more Prime exclusive discounts. But they still did. I mean, I would say they probably 3 to 4x their daily kind of rate. I don't like to look at the day before or the week leading up, but on average, just their average daily rate, gross revenue, gross sales, should I say? They like 3 to 4x. I had one that like about 5x'd it. Ran more lightning deals, came up on the first page quite a bit on the throughout the lightning deal time frame. Came out on the first page of the deal in their category, so that was a plus, and that drove quite a bit of sales.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can say, I mean, some of our clients did okay, but I think the ones that really leaned into it did the best. A couple of people, I'd say, tripled or doubled what maybe a normal daily sale would look like. But it really kind of depends upon the age of the brand. When we have some people who are aggressively growing but are also concerned about cash flow right now, so many brands are tightening up the purse strings right now. And I'm not just talking about Amazon, but I mean, even on their own e-commerce sites, because they're seeing a decrease in traffic, they're seeing a decrease in conversions, longer purchase consideration time. And so they're being very tight with spend. But it's an interesting time because consumers also want a deal too. And the thing that people don't know likely about all these savings is who funds the savings? Not Amazon. People are saving billions of dollars, but it's billions of dollars out of the merchants or the vendor's pocket. Even if you're a big brand like a Kimberly-Clark or a P&G, company, you're funding those. When you have that 1P relationship, you're funding it for them. So pretty big discount of savings for brands that could potentially even be hurting right now. But I think we're always, from a profitability standpoint, that's never my focus for a brand. It's always looking at what additional sales can we drive on top of this, that halo effect.
Yeah.
What can we do to drive growth there?
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting conversation. I've been having this conversation with a lot of people. Well, not a lot, but mostly internal, but myself. Would you rather have, let's say, like $150,000 in sales and a 40% margin, or would you rather have $300,000 in sales and half that margin? So like a 20% margin. It's the exact same profit. Top line's higher. So which one would you rather have?
Yeah, I feel like it comes down to the after effects.
Yeah.
If the profit's all the same, if I'm going to get more sales and I'm going to get, not the percentage, but the dollar amount's the same. But if I'm going to, a week, 2 weeks, a month from now, going to be in the lead, then I'll deal with the lesser profit. But it's hard to know on the front end.
Yeah, and I saw a couple. One brand that I work with actually going into Prime Day. It was actually on the up and up from the previous days. So like the 2 days going into Prime Day were actually larger sales days than the two consecutive previous days before those 2 days going into Prime Day.
Oh, really?
Which was interesting to me.
Did they do anything during that time period or no?
Nope. Nothing really changed. Which is kind of interesting. Yeah.
If you just heard yourself talking, it's because I was trying to edit the live the thing that I titled May 25th while we were talking, but I think all hope is lost. Yeah, so I mean, it's always about driving increased rank. I think increased visibility, time will tell. We definitely saw a depression in sales the week leading up, but no big dip in sessions or anything like that. And that's always tough to swallow. We have a client who's dealing with some hijackers, and so that's been frustrating for them. And then going into July, they're like, okay, well, sales are still really slow. It's like, okay, well, we're definitely expecting this because people are considering and looking. And I think the biggest thing is people are adding to cart to be prepared to see, because they get notified if you get a deal.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's what my wife did. I know, I think our buddy Josh Justice was saying he had some stuff in his cart, but nothing, he didn't get notified of any deals or anything like that. I have a feeling that probably some bigger brands maybe didn't lean into it. I've seen a lot of people anecdotally on LinkedIn talking about, or in groups, we didn't have a lot of deals, or it's all organic growth, whatever the case might be. But I think you really have to be visible beforehand. And if you're not visible beforehand, just trying to get out in front it can be difficult. Like going to a show and if you have a booth at a show, but you haven't done any work beforehand and you're literally just showing up trying to capture what you can, it's probably, even if you've got a great booth, if you haven't done any work beforehand or you're not seen anywhere, there's less association with what's going on.
Yeah. Also followers, people that follow your brand on Amazon.
They do get notified.
Yeah, if it's a deal. So mostly lightning deals, 7-day deals, best deals, etc. So if you're doing those kinds of deals, they'll get notified. I got notified a couple times because of that. There was I saw, so like utilizing those kind of strategies to gain followers throughout the year, especially like after fourth quarter through social media, etc., is always a good like ancillary kind of strategy to help drive future growth in those certain Prime days.
So what is it exactly that you're saying people should be doing if they really want to?
William Painter is a sunglass company. They did a really good job. They, if you have a large Let's just say you're going to throw a lightning deal out next month.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at the ticker that I put up. I got notified a couple.
I got notified a couple of times.
So I'm similar saying. That's what you said. You got notified a couple times about some deals.
Oh, got it.
Sorry, I'm listening now. I was very proud of
like
myself.
100,000 people that follow you on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
Throw up a story and just have them say, "Hey, we got a deal coming up on our product. Go follow us. This is how to do it." Show them the way, hold their hand, and just get more people to follow you on Amazon. Follow your brand. And then when you have those deals, they'll get notified. They'll be the first ones to get notified. It's kind of like a community sort of thing.
Yeah, the more if you've got a captive audience, then it's like an email list. You might as well take advantage of them. So if you can get them on social to tap into what you're doing, then yeah, you should absolutely be taking advantage of that. And I feel like there's these breadcrumbs that Amazon drops, like a follow button. There's no big plans. Of course, there's stuff behind it, but they leave it to you to take advantage of it. And I think the people that do take advantage of that stuff are winners, even if the thing goes away. So if Amazon stops doing something, you at least are now aware, hey, Amazon's put out new stuff. I'm kind of staying in tune with that and the behaviors there, because when something does work, you're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, those breadcrumbs are important.
One of the things that I have not really seen come to fruition, although we're doing it for brands, is Amazon posts.
Yeah, it's a long game.
Very, very long game. It has to be good content, which we have, so that's good, but it's really hard. There's no tracking of sales or anything like that.
I believe there is some. Isn't there some in the advertising?
I mean, you could be. I don't know about that. I know that you could track potentially traffic from a store page.
Well, the good part is that it's evergreen, so people will see it. It's not a one and done kind of thing. Now I'm curious to see if
I don't think there is. I mean, I'm happy to be wrong, but yeah, I don't think there's any tracking right now. Otherwise, I think we'd be leaning into it a lot heavier.
I thought there was some. Hold on, I'm looking now. Oh, and then everyone talks about like the new and greatest strategy for Prime Day and whatnot.
Yeah, what were you seeing out there?
I was told by a couple people TikTok, and then Carrie Matthews.
Carrie Masters, yeah.
Yeah, and then someone else put the stats of Prime Day views on TikTok, hashtag Prime Day 2023 plus hashtag Amazon Prime Day 2023. This year, probably about 115 million Prime Day views for those two hashtags. Last year was about 50.
I was just going to say what was last year. So I'm looking in the ad console right now, and you've got for posts, you have impressions, you have engagement, you have clicks, you have reach, but there's nothing that ties it back to. There's no sales associated with it, which is what I think everybody wants to see.
I wonder if you can.
But this looks new. I don't know. I'm not always going and reporting on the newest thing that's popping up on Amazon. Like, hey, this thing came out and this thing came out. But so I don't know when this initially launched, but it looks new to me, and it's saying it's new. So this whole feed here.
Yeah, there's a brand. There's something called Join Brands. Go to joinbrands.com.
Oh yeah, joinbrands.me.
I think it's .com now.
Is it?
But I think it might have been .me before. But
You're right. You are right.
You can basically just hire people if you have a deal on it, and just like literally just have them post about your product for Prime Day.
Yeah. So you're doing social content.
No, I didn't do it, but it's a good strategy to do. Brought it up with a couple brands, but they didn't want to do it.
They didn't want to do it.
They just missed out a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, they didn't want to do any. Gosh, what's the? I'm blanking on the term. I mean, it's like shoppable content, but people aren't wanting to do any like influencer trafficking or anything like that. I'm sorry, not influencer trafficking. That sounds very illegal. They're not wanting to do any user generated content, which is what Join Brands does.
Yep.
You can create user generated content. There's also a new service coming out that I've seen that's called Viral, VYRILL. Like a good friend of mine who I've known for a while in the space, John Casey, is working over there, and they are basically getting a bunch of video content. They're going out to people who have a following and asking the audience, "Hey, will you create some video content for us in the products?" And then they are saying that they use AI to scan all of the videos, and the way they put it together is pretty cool. They're basically saying, here's positive sentiment, negative sentiment, and here is this product feature, here's this product feature. You can break it up by demographic. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. And then if you want to see a comment that someone said, like here's a negative comment, you can go right, you click on that comment, it'll take you right to where it was in the video. Yeah. Across, I mean, like hundreds of videos. So it's a really cool way to aggregate that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So Prime Day was a success, I think, for most people, which is good to hear. But it sounds like people weren't doing crazy discounts from what I gather.
I think a lot of people were very conscious about expenditure as well, advertising dollars. I had a couple of brands that were just like, we don't want to change anything. Maybe, and then midway through, they're like, oh, we can up this because we're doing all right, But yeah, I definitely think the general consensus from what I've seen as well is that people were kind of tighter on that, I guess, sort of say. And one brand was telling me they're like, they actually got an email from Amazon advertising. It was like, hey, you should up your budgets and up your campaigns by X amount for Prime Day, just to push a little more. And then they're kind of like, oh yeah, we got our strategy, blah, blah. And she's like, well, can we hop on a call to talk about that? Like just the typical Amazon, like, hey, you should give us more money for advertising.
The ads person said, can we hop on a call to talk about it?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Nope. Nah. We're good. Yeah. Let's talk about, before our time is up today, let's talk about the just the crazy things that Amazon does. What are some crazy things that Amazon has done to you recently? Not personally, but
Amazon's always changing stuff. I mean, I posted something on LinkedIn the other day about variations, item product type has to be the same now, kind of thing. Changing categories. They've been doing that since from what I've like actually tracked since like 2021. They're always coming out with new subcategories. So if they feel like your product belongs in that one, they'll just switch it over. Health and household and beauty and personal care, those main categories, and then going into the subcategories, a lot of them will kind of intertwine without going into too much detail. Like sometimes you'll just be put into a health and household, category if you were in the beauty and personal care category.
Did it again.
It's all kinds of craziness. What's Rando?
Just a random guy. Come on, man.
Is that automated?
Did you speak teenager? No, I'm typing it in, man. There's no AI over here. Just a random guy. So I can say that I've experienced that as well. Multiple clients, now 3 clients, have had products that have just been changed via category. And one of our, have had their category changed by Amazon. And the thing is, it's so confusing. Even if you've been with Amazon for a while and it's not something that you're triggering or that someone else is triggering. But if you're a brand and you're not super savvy with Amazon and something's changed, it doesn't logically make sense. And so you're thinking, what did I do? Or
all of a
if
sudden you're like, my sales are down. Like, what's going on? And it's like, well, when your sales start going down, you look at the kind of that when that change. Keep is great for that. Keep is like the best for looking at past and whatnot, and you can kind of tell a story with that. But yeah, it was just changed randomly, and they're like, "What's going on?" Like, something's been happening the past month, and it's just like, if you don't keep an eye on that, it can definitely hurt you.
But people are thinking it's something that they can do, and I think a lot of this, the whole Amazon ecosystem is there's a lot of stuff that you cannot prevent, and you can be as prepared as you need to, but you just have to be watchful.
Yeah, watchful. It's perfect. Yeah, it's a perfect way to say it. If you don't have an eye on it, then it can just happen, and you won't even notice it will happen.
You won't, and that's why Amazon is definitely not set it or forget it.
Yeah,
you have to be paying attention. We got a quote from someone that says you just have to be watchful. Cool, dude. if this AMA does anything, it helps make me laugh, and that's why we do it.
Just laughter. It's the best form of medicine.
So, do you happen to know? I'll look it up while we're talking, but the change in Prime Day stuff was saw a big we saw a 6% increase. I'm wondering what Prime Day increase was in 2022.
Here, this is a whole thing that they just put out today. How do I put a link on here? Oh, here.
You can drop it in the comments. Yeah.
I think I just sent it to you privately.
Okay, cool. I'll put it in here.
I found this. It's like the whole history. They don't have the 2023 numbers yet, but they all just talk about savings. But in 2022, they saved 1.7 billion Prime members. 2022 Prime members worldwide purchased more than 100,000 items per minute during the Prime Day event. Wow, that's a lot of items per minute.
Okay, so 2021 was
the small business.
The pandemic shifted Prime Day. That's right.
I
forget so easily.
In 2020, it was late.
So that was October 13th and 14th, which was people were worried about losing sales on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Man, the 2-day event has gone on. I have such a terrible short-term memory. July 19th.
Since the 2016, I think. No. 17.
2017 was also July 11th and 12th.
And it was 30 hours, so they cut. It was like a day and a half, or like a little bit over a day.
Yeah. Okay.
And then 2018, they increased it to 36 hours, and then 2019, I think it's 48. Yeah, that's when they just did it.
I'm just curious about the lift. What should people? I'll say this: if you're coming off Prime Day, hopefully you see an increase in halo effect, so you're visible. I'd be checking your rank and seeing where you show up in search results. You can also check top search terms in brand analytics to give you an idea of where you're showing up in conversions. Like, is this week different than last week? If you're tracking on some of those top terms. But I would say you probably will see a drop off in sale. I mean, definitely from Prime Day, but you may even see a drop off this next week or so as people who have bought stuff are not making purchases. And just with how some people still feel very uncertain about what's going on in the economy, they may be, or just how expensive things are, people may be holding back from spending. They're really focusing on sales. You can't underestimate the power of a sale, especially when people are dealing with, when people are concerned about sales or about their income, excuse me.
And going into next year, it's funny, we're talking about next year, but going into next year, it's election year. Election year historically has always been really slow. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next year.
Sales have been historically slow, is what you're saying, correct?
Yeah. I mean, from what I've always seen is everyone kind of, for some reason, maybe it's changing a little bit more, but from what I've always seen in the past is election years, people are always kind of a little more tighter with their wallet.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I can see that. I think there's also been a downturn somewhat in the economy as well. I wonder if people are just so focused on that, if there's really anything tied to, if it's tied to concerns or whatever the case might be. But
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on that is it's kind of been looming for a while now. Obviously, inflation's up or went back down or whatnot, but there's the ebbs and flows, and it's just going to always ebb and flow.
that's the hardest part, is when you're in the midst of an ebb. It feels like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's interesting too. This is the kind of, I feel like this is like the first like kind of quote unquote normal year after the whole, after COVID.
Pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, after the pandemic. And so people are starting to kind of like, it's like going back to normal ups and downs of sales, school lets out, sales drop, summertime,
Yeah.
people are going to do things. People, there's more on parents' plates, things like that. So those are all things to factor back in. It just makes me think about the beginning of the pandemic and like how everyone thought the world, e-commerce was going to just die, and it just like absolutely boomed.
Yeah. Well, everyone thought everything was gonna go away.
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
I think you really have to be watchful during those times, and again, watchful. But when you make a really quick knee-jerk decision, you want to make a timely decision. But if you are making a knee-jerk reaction, then it's going to be really, really difficult, I think, to ride the wave successfully.
You should put that in the ticker.
What is it that I'm going to put in there?
What you just said.
Well, first, I might have to remember what I said. Well, any last piece of advice for people? What should they be doing coming up in the futures?
Go outside and get some fresh air.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm actually putting on Twitter right now. This actually aired July 13th. I can't believe I did that. That bothers me so much.
It's all good.
I guess that's what happens when you copy something. Well, this has been another Amazon AMA report, coming to you live from Studio Sharon. Prime Day was a success overall. It sounds like, at least for most people, it sounds like some people even saw a lift without doing sales, which is really cool. Amazon's still making crazy things happen with your catalog, so be on alert. Just know if something's happening, there's usually a trend that you can look for. So if you see a decrease in sales, there are a couple places that you can go, like, okay, I'm going to go look at my conversion rate. I'm going to go look at my listing. Is anything happening there? What's my buy box rate look like if I know I've got a hijacker problem? There's a couple places that you can go to start looking to determine, is there anything that I did? Is there anything I can do? You can use a tool like Keepa, or honestly, any tool that tracks changes like Zonguru. I don't know if Helium 10 does that. I know Merchant Spring does some like tracking of like suppressed listings and stuff. I don't know about category changes, but any tool, Keepa's pretty cheap, $15 a month. So $16 a month. So you can use that to track any changes. And as soon as that stuff happens, do what you can to get that stuff changed. If it's, telling Amazon, which might, support might take a long time, but doing a partial update, using a flat file, or or do a full update? I mean, we're talking about all these updates that are all flat files, right? That you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, go to About Amazon. Listen to the retail of the history of Prime Day with your eyes. And this has been another episode of Amazon AMA. Why don't you give them the last word, buddy?
Be well.
Boom. Actually, oh shoot, I just said the last word. Do another one.
See ya.